Got a 2017 Toyota Sienna. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to change your rear brakes and rotors. This works for all third generation Toyota Siennas, going from 2011 down to 2020. First thing you're going to want to do, pop your hood. You're going to go to the master cylinder here. You're going to take this lever right here, handle, pop it up, and open up your brake reservoir, okay? You do that because when you push in the calipers, you don't want no resistance in there. You want it just to freely move as you push in your pistons. I'm on the driver's side right now. You're gonna come down. There's your rear tire. You're gonna come back. You're gonna find this little triangle pointing down. That's where you jack the car up. There's a pinch weld underneath. We've never seen it before. There it goes. That's where you jack it up, okay? Not on the fiberglass. You want it on the pinch weld. You're gonna get yourself a 21 millimeter socket. I'm gonna take off the 5 lug nuts. The tire is hard. Give it a good shove. Pop it right off, okay? Set that aside. You got 2 13 millimeter bolts that hold your caliper right here. This is the caliper to the caliper bracket, okay? So we're gonna take off one here, one right here in the bottom, both 13 millimeter bolts. You're gonna wanna get a shallow socket because you ain't got much room between the shock tube and the bolt. So either get a shallow socket or a wrench and bust these loose. Shouldn't be under tremendous power pressure anyway, so. And you can just back them off by hand. You're gonna get yourself a large C-clamp. Back it out. I'm gonna push the piston in on the caliper like so. You're gonna put it here. You're gonna put it around back and make sure it's on the housing of the caliper. You don't want to put it on the housing on the bolt or any hoses or any other such. So once it's on the back of the thing, we're gonna press the piston in nice and slow. Take off your caliper. And don't ever let this just hang here because you could damage the hose. So we're just gonna swing it around like so and let it chill out right there. You come down here, pop the brakes out. These have a little life left. Nope, they're done, see? You have a wear indicator right here. This line goes down to the side of the pad and it tells you when it's time to change it. So we ain't got much life left in here. Sometimes rust builds up around and makes it hard to get out. So get a screwdriver and just pop it out, or a pry bar, whatever you have. Yep, these will definitely do. Nothing left on there. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is take a 17 millimeter socket. You got 1 bolt here for the caliper bracket, and you got 1 bolt directly underneath for the caliper bracket. Sometimes this shock tube gets in the way. If these bolts are extremely tight and you can't get them off with a breaker bar or a large ratchet, you might have to take out the shock tube, swing it out of the way, and then get an impact gun on there to take these out, okay? If not, get a long breaker bar with a socket, as like so, and pop them right out. These are the 2 bolts I'm talking about right here. Top one, bottom one. Now you got those 2 out. Take your caliper bracket off. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is take off your rotor, which has the parking brake built into here, okay? So you see this little rubber plug that you have here? We're gonna pop the plug out. We're gonna rotate the plug until it's toward the bottom of the unit. Now, you don't need a fancy tool like this. You can use a flat blade screwdriver. This is called a parking brake adjustment tool. Makes it a little bit easier, but it's not necessary. You can just do the same thing with a flat blade screwdriver. Now you're gonna rotate this a little bit back and forth until you find there's a star spinner in here. Shouldn't be too deep in. or you can do it that way. This brake drum wasn't installed correctly because there wasn't much holding the rotor in. So if you're lucky like that and it pops right out, kudos to you, okay? Nor was this circle where the plug goes, it's supposed to be on a notch on your hub. And as you can see, it wasn't on the notch. This is the notch. So this is where the plug should be, okay? So for the future reference, make sure this notch, half moon, is pointing straight down. And when you put your rotor on, that plug that I just showed you should be lined up with here so you can get access to the spring that's on the bottom. That's the spring right there. This is how you adjust your parking brake. You turn it in and out, and that expands your shoes outward to lock onto the drum. So that's the whole breakdown process. Now we're going to install everything in reverse. I have my notch pointing down. I'll take my new rotor with that circle right there pointing down. Press it on, boom. Simple as that. That's how you put your rotor on. You do that, that's how you adjust the brakes. So if you don't have that hole centered on the notch, you can't adjust the brakes and you have weak parking brakes. So whoever did that brake job last time didn't know what they were doing. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is remove your old brake sliders. These right here. This is where the brakes slide back and forth on the caliper bracket. We're gonna grab them by hand. Just a close up. Pop them out. There's 4 of them. Boom. There's all 4 of them. Okay? Throw those aside because the new ones come with them. Put a light on there so you get a better view. You take yourself a steel brush and where those clips were, we're going to clean the rust off. So the new ones sit nice and flush with no obstructions. Okay? A lot of people don't do this part either. And when they put the new brakes on, it's super tight. And it won't slide back and forth free like it's supposed to. So a little extra precaution here. Clean everything up. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is take your slide pins and make sure they move freely, which this one is not right now. See this one moves freely, okay? So we're gonna pop them out of the rubber boot like so. Pull it out all the way, like so. We're gonna clean them off, put more grease, put them back in. Always, always, always do this part because you don't want seized up calipers, okay? You want them to move freely. So this is the stuff I use, Ultra Brake Part Lubricant. It's made for this, it can handle high heat. Or if you want, you can use Never Seize, whatever you have on hand. But do not skip this step because as you just seen, this one was not moving freely. So put it back in. Pop it in and out a couple of times. It should move in and out like so. Should not be stuck in here like this one is. This will cause premature wear of your brakes. It will cause squealing, it will cause overheating on the brakes, and eventually it will destroy the brakes. So we're gonna take a socket, probably a 14mm socket, maybe 15. I'm gonna rock this back and forth and we're gonna work this thing out, okay? Worst case scenario, you might have to add some heat on here to get this thing loose. That doesn't work, you're gonna need to order yourself a whole caliper kit, which comes with a caliper and the bracket. Unless you go to Toyota directly to order just the bracket. But if you go aftermarket, any hardware store, this don't come separate. It comes with the caliper. I got the 14mm socket on here. Spiting you every step of the way, but it's coming out as you can see. So you're gonna keep going like this, tightening it, loosening it, and rocking it back and forth at the same time. Anything to get this thing out. And as you can see in there, no grease. So, like I said, whoever did this previous job did a half-assed job, okay? So we're gonna clean this up, as good as we can. You have a wire die grinder with a brush on it. We're gonna clean this up. Show you after I get it all cleaned up. Got it nice and clean. We're gonna put a good amount of grease on this thing, like so. Just brush it on. Press it in, work it in and out. Pop it back out, push it back in. Make sure that boot sits around on that lip. Because if the boot don't sit on the lip, water gets behind it, and that's where you get rust build up, and then you'll be screwed. This is what you want, okay? You can see it moves in and out freely, out and in. That's exactly what you want, okay? No tears on the boot. The boot's in good shape. There's lazy mechanic who did it last time. Okay, here we have it. We're gonna take one of the new ones. These are what they look like. And what you're gonna wanna make sure is this piece always goes to the outside of the caliper, outside of the bracket, like so. Like so. You see how easy it went down onto the thing with no rust there. So little simple things that's cleaning off rust and making sure your slide pins are greased up, and make sure that your rotor is installed the correct way so you get access to the adjustment star. Simple things like that, okay? Makes the world go round for the next guy. Now that they're all in, we're gonna lube up these slides right here with the same grease that we use for the slide pin. Put a light coat right where the slides are, like so, okay? You don't want this stuff getting everywhere. This will keep it from seizing up and wearing out prematurely, like I said. We like extending your service life of your brakes and give it its best chance to do what its job is supposed to do for as long as possible. After you have that done, we're gonna put the bracket back on the car. Get them always started finger tight by hand. Here's the top and bottom bolt is right here. I'm gonna gun them back on. If anyone who's watching this video knows the torque specs, leave it a comment with all the torque specs, and I'll pin it to the top comment. If I find the torque specs online, I will have it in the video description. So I'm gonna gun these two on as tight as possible. There you go. There's one. Same thing for the back side. After you get both your inner and outer pads in, you're gonna bring your caliper back around. Make sure this hose is not kinked in any way or twisted. We're gonna put it over the pads, over the slide pins, and we're gonna catch the two slide pin bolts. If this bolt spins freely, you might have to get a wrench on here so you could get a good tightness on here. Most of the time they don't spin. Get these nice and firmly seated. You don't want nothing coming off. Last thing we're gonna do now is adjust the parking brake so it actually works for this customer, not like whoever did it last time. Hence the rotor just popping right off, okay? You're gonna take your star adjustment tool or your flat plate screwdriver. You're gonna have the adjustment point down below, and you're gonna fish in here until you find the star adjusted knob. You'll know when you get it. You'll hear the slight clicks inside of it. Depending on where it's at over here, you might have to come this way. There it goes. And you're gonna give it a couple adjustments. I like to tighten it up and then back it off a couple turns. You don't want to leave this thing so tight that is on constant parking brake, wearing out the shoes for the parking brake. And if you go too much, you gotta go the opposite. Instead of pushing the wheel in this orientation like so, you gotta go, instead of going up to spin it, you gotta go downward to get it loose, okay? Now always put in your plug back in, because you don't want water to go in here and rust out that star or any of the adjustment things inside of here. So always put that plug right back in. Here's a close-up of the plug. Nothing crazy. You just push it in, plugs right in. Boom. Next, we're gonna put the tire back on, tighten all the lug nuts. We're gonna take it for a road test. Nice constant brake pedal application. You're gonna go from a 30 mile per hour down to a 5. Nice relaxed brake. You're not gonna jam on your brakes. You're gonna use it like normal. You're gonna do that about, I would say, anywhere from 10 to 15 times, and that's gonna set these brakes into the rotor. Everything's gonna be perfect. Here's another look. You can see that half moon shape right there. And there's no way you would have been able to adjust that parking brake. So I don't know how they adjusted the parking brake. That's why this rotor just came right off with no resistance. Normally it's hard and you got to back it off before you can release it. So more proof that whoever did it last time didn't know what they were doing. Always catch them all finger tight first. Like I said, star pattern. Here, 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 here. Okay? Not here, 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 because then you got everything unevenly torqued and you might get vibrations. That job is done. You're going to do the same exact thing for the other side. Every step is the same. I'm only going to show you on one side because I don't want to have a 40-minute long video. You're going to come inside, stack from the brake, nice, a couple times. It's going to get firm. You're going to come outside, check the brake fluid, make sure it's at the max mark. So take your cap, press it back on, take your cover, make sure that's fully seated, and now you go follow Power Stop's recommended braking procedure. Questions, comment, leave them below. I get back to everyone. I hope that video helped you. If it did, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, spread the word. The more the merrier, man. Take care, fellas. Peace.